Hello, I'm Nancy Alexander with LadybugWreaths.com. I'm back with you today doing another free video for you, Wreath Tips with Nancy. The last one that I did, the last video I filmed for you, was showing how to put honeysuckle vine in a wreath. So next I thought we would film one showing you about our greenery. I'm going to go through all of this that we have here and talk a little bit about it, but first I want to talk about our supplies. I always use some of the 2-inch picks that have wire on them. They're called floral picks with wire. And I always use some of the 3-inch picks with wire. Now they make 5-inch also that I keep from time to time if I need a really long one. Don't use them too much. And I have green floral tape and brown floral tape. Now this is not sticky if you touch it, but it sticks to itself when you kind of pull and start wrapping. It'll stick. And I'm using my Klein wire cutters, which I love. If you'll notice, they're kind of at an angle. And you can find these, I've got a link to these on my website under supplies. You can just click on that link and order them right from Amazon. And always need some good scissors, but we're not going to be using ribbon today. I have some green wire, but this wire has been wrapped in floral tape. So if you have to tie something in and it shows, it's not going to look like you wired it in. They won't be able to tell what it is. And my glue gun. I also have a link on my website under the supplies page for you to order a glue gun through Amazon. They're very reasonable. And if you'll notice, I buy the long glue sticks for a hot gun. They make some guns that are not as hot, but to me they don't stick as well. Now we're always talking about using a mixture of greens in our wreaths, and we always just grab a whole bunch of different types of greens. It looks more natural. It looks more like you went outside, and when you're looking at nature, you'll see one size leaf and you'll see some grass and you'll see another color leaf. So I think that's what makes our wreaths so different and unique, is that we try to mimic nature as much as we can. And we use a lot of different greens. Now, I'm going to show you some of them. This is a pack of stems. Got 6 stems in it. And it's got kind of a powdery look on it. And if you'll notice, each stem has a lot on it. I can bend these out. I don't use them as the whole stem. There's so much on one stem, I cut it up. And I really like using these light powdery looking leaves against some of the darker leaves. It gives it more definition. Now, this and several other of the greens came from one of my secret vendor list locations. I have ordered greenery for many years from a lot of places, and it was as expensive as the flowers, sometimes more so. But you won't believe this. This pack of 6 stems costs less than, don't remember exactly, I think it was between $2 and $3 for 6 of them. And you really can't beat that. And I wanted to show you also, now for years I've talked about using wisteria leaves in my wreaths. And I ordered those, and I would pay $2, $2.50, sometimes $2.75 a stem. And they would have a lot of leaves on them and some really delicate looking leaves, which I liked. But also this pack came from the same secret vendor location, and you get 6 stems of ficus leaves And they're wired together. I'm going to cut them apart so you can see one. Just have to kind of pull them apart. Now I can separate this and get 3 nice stems of leaves off this. This pack of 6 was only $1.77. And this is what I used to get the shape all the way around the outside of my wreath, and I put some on the inside just coming out a little bit. And that is so reasonable. Excuse me. When you're making wreaths that you want to sell and make a profit, you really need to watch for deals like this. If you can find something that looks almost as good, and actually I think this looks as good as the more expensive one for a cheaper price like this, it's amazing. Now, I buy my grasses from this same place, bunches of grasses. I think these are normally about $2. These little bitty grasses that we use a lot around things like a birdhouse, which we're eventually going to put in this wreath. I think maybe a stem of this is like 50 cents. And they have ivy. So if you can get greenery like I did at a very expensive price like I did, you will not have much in your wreath at all. And then when we get to the flower part of this wreath, I'm going to use some bushes of flowers that I bought that have some really nice looking flowers in them, and we'll talk about how to save money doing that too. Okay, I'm ready to get started. How about y'all? When you pull it apart, you can see it's got 3 separate stems, so I'm just going to cut it up at each joint. And we'll talk about putting picks on in a minute, but these stems are long enough that you don't need picks. Now when I'm gluing these in, I just run a bead of glue down, I usually go down 2 sides of my stem, and I kind of wrap it like that so it doesn't string out and get all over me. And I want it sticking out from my wreath, kind of from the back, going out to the side. And everybody keeps asking me what size wreath I start with to come up with some of these really pretty big wreaths. Well, this is an 18-inch wreath, and this is going to be huge when we finish. A lot of the time, and I would say probably more times than not, we start with a 14-inch wreath. And when we're through, you end up with a wreath that's probably 28 to 30 inches across. Don't you think, Kim? That's Kim, my friend back there, and my employee. She's filming me today. She can film as good as she can make wreaths. I'm going to get her on the camera one day too. Okay, I want one of these coming out of the top. And when you start doing that, you're going to think, oh wow, no, that sticks too far out of away from the wreath. It's not going to look right. But don't think that way, just keep going. And when you start filling it in, you'll see that's what makes these wreaths look so wild and airy. They don't look stuffy. Now this is a pretty long one. And this one I am going to put a pick on, so I'll tell you how I'm going to do that. The picks with wire, I lay them right beside the stem, maybe overlapping about 1 inch. And I hold the wire very tightly, and I start wrapping it around. And I come up a little bit over the top of the pick. It just helps secure it. And then I just kind of spin it between my fingers, keeping tension on the wire as I go down. And then there's some left over after the leaf stem ends that I wrap around the pick. Now, it took me a long time when I first got started to put a stem on so tightly, put a pick on a stem so tightly that you could not pull it off. And that's something that you'll just have to get used to doing. Now I'm wrapping it with brown floral tape, and I hold the tape in my fingers and I pull it, kind of keep pressure on it as I spin it around. Now I put a pick on this one because I want this to come way out the bottom of my wreath. And I'm going to put some glue down both sides. And go in at an angle. Sometimes it'll come out the back, sometimes not. If you can keep it going in at an angle where it doesn't all stick out the back, you're better off. Excuse me. Pollen's getting me. Okay. And I kind of curl that up just a little bit right there. Now I'm going to finish going around the outside of the wreath with these other stems, and I don't need picks on them. So I'm going to put my glue. Sometimes when you start sticking it in, it won't quite go. You'll have to pull it out. There you go. Till you find the right hole for it to fit in. And if you'll notice, I kind of bring my greenery swooping around the same as the sticks, the wild birch sticks that come out from my wreath. I don't go opposite from those. I go in the same direction as those. And we'll put some more glue on this one. I'm going to bring this toward the front just a little bit. And kind of curl it over that edge of the honeysuckle. So I'm probably going to use about 3 more of these and then we'll switch to a different type of greenery. I've been amazed lately at how many people are looking at my videos on YouTube. Actually, my partner in Connecticut, Linda, pointed out to me the other day that I've had almost 750,000 views on my videos, and I was shocked. I said, nah, can't be that much. She said, yeah, it is. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. I've got a lot of free ones on there, and I've got a lot of teaser videos on there, just showing you clips and sections out of some of my bigger videos that I sell, the longer ones, so you can kind of see what you're getting before you have to buy it. I'm going to put one right here. I missed the spot. And then one more, and we'll be through with this. I wouldn't want to make a wreath without this type of leaf stem anymore, because it just adds so much to your wreath. I missed the hole. And I tried the other day making one without it, and it's just pretty stuffy. Okay, and we'll move these over out of the way. Now, I think next we'll add some of this really pretty grass. And this also came from the same location, and I've got a lot of vendors listed in my secret vendor list, and you'll see that when you purchase it. People email me and say, I can't believe how much you're telling me. I can't believe you're giving away all this information. But I know how it was when I got started. No one will share with you. No one will tell you where to find stuff. You have to go to market and walk up and down the halls and find it yourself. Now you'll notice as I'm talking, this is on a This is what they call a bush with one main stem, and I'm just going around and clipping some of this grass off. I clip it all the way down at the joint as close as I can. Now these are going to need some picks, so I'm going to lay it right beside the stem and wrap it tightly, and then come up a little bit and then spin it going down. I'm going to do several of these at a time. It'll be faster. I'll start wrapping real tight at first, and then when you start spinning it, it just sticks really well. And these will actually slide down the stem some. Most flowers will. They'll slide up and down the stem if you need to spread them out a little bit. Now, after you've made wreaths for a while, you'll get to where you can do stuff like this in your sleep without even looking. Sometimes I stand here and look out the window at the birds and at my garden while I'm doing this. Kim's awfully quiet back there. Why don't you say something? Say hello. Hello. You'll come over here a minute? No. Kim is very talented, y'all. When I'm busy writing newsletters and filming videos and writing ebooks, Kim makes a lot of wreaths for me. And I'm very blessed to have her, and she is very, very talented.